Okay, so this is just showing this pattern. Then you have the ruler. For me, my second house being ruled by Virgo has Mercury as a ruler. So the thinking and the way my mind works, it's the way I make money. I get paid for my ideas, for my communication, for my writing. I value ideas and knowledge. I lived in a library, had 75,000 books on astrology, mysticism, religions, and how astrology related to them. I lived in that for 30 years. I had a great environment with all kinds of books in that environment. So owning books, having these things to think, that's the Virgo on my second house of resources. My Mercury is in the third house of studying and thinking, of communication. The key word is I analyze. So I really, like, it's taken me time to realize I lived in this knowledge environment for 30 years. Most people don't. Most people just have a few books here and there. So I was much more submerged, or significantly submerged, let's say. Okay, so we have to go through each of the house cups like that. So basically when we're going to do this in the chart, for your chart, you need to do the worksheets. So that's part of your final part of your level 5 exam. That is the exam, putting this together. But when we're doing the chart, we'll be able to look. There's the Virgo on the second house. We got the categories, we can see it. Then the Mercury ruler in the third. You know, the buying books. I don't even walk in bookstores anymore because I'll walk out with 5 or 10 books if I do. And you have to put them somewhere. So now forcing it digitally. Of course, the only thing you need now is more digital memory all the time to increase more. So I'm up to 4 terabytes of data. Lots of information out in the world is how you sift through it or organize it. But each one of I'm not going to go into the further here, but taking the sign in each cusp, we're going to do this and try and do it. Well, maybe, okay. So if I had Libra on my third house cusp in my communications, I like to share ideas. And when I was married, I'm talking to the partner, I'm doing the thinking for the partner, and this is it, and I'm now explaining where I'm coming from and going. But then I realized I was always doing the talking, and they were aligning more than I was listening to them. Well, that's the forcefulness of all my planets in the third house, but the Libra was wanting to share the ideas and being let down if suddenly they didn't want to hear them anymore. Whoa, trouble with living with a teacher. Okay. And I got the Scorpio on the IC we talked about. I have Capricorn in the fifth house. When it comes to my performance, I'm very cautious. I'm inhibited. I'm reserved. I'm ambitious. I have the Capricorn. I'm practical, but it's ruled by Saturn in my 12th house. I've created a lot of things, but they don't tend to stay. It's against the grain. It's difficult. When I built the musical instrument, I worked really hard for a couple of years to do it. Just I saw it, I had to build it. But in building it, it cost more money than I ever would have expected. It was a miracle I got it done, but I did it. Then I had to learn to play it. Then I had to learn to make. And it's still going on. Always, even performances end up costing me more to move the harp around, to get other musicians to play with me. It still piles up as a lot more work. And it's a big instrument. So anyways, just you can see the Capricorn there, and I have the one son, and I have 4 grandkids. But then there's struggles with now it's like struggles with the grandkids and stuff. I go and help some of them, and one of them I can't. And so I have challenges in the fifth house, and now I feel I'm trying to complete my performances, to finish the jobs or works that I started, to pass on the classes, to pass on things so okay, this is not what I'm projecting most, is taking in. Whenever I was trying to sing as a kid, I was always put down. I never was allowed to sing, but I was always so sensitive about anybody else's judgment of getting bad. If I get, this is the part where you're taking in feedback. If I get bad feedback, it really affects my performance. When I don't have the bad feedback, it's easy to just talk. Sixth house is Aquarius. Working knowledge, working with astrology, working with knowledge. I worked with my own ideas all my life. I never really worked for anyone else. ruled by Saturn in the 12th. But I never really made lots of money. I got enough to get by with. Whenever I would try, if I try to get money for myself, it's more difficult. If I try to get money for a good cause or something, it comes in very easily. But the Aquarius there implies working at knowledgeable things. And I certainly have found astrology, the I Ching, these systems of knowledge to be incredibly healing factors. They are in my life. They help me improve things. Sixth house improvement, way more than I would have without knowing it. So then I have Pisces on the 8th house. Cusp, and I have complicated relationships over finances, expectations with people, and they would go up and down, complications in the marriage and stuff like that, where money was coming, what things we're dealing with. I have Aries on the 9th house of higher understanding, which I tend to push. I think now I'm not the rulers we need to look at. So my ruler of other people's resources is in my 3rd house. So I can see what I think for how we should. When I was the older brother. Good example of this. Maybe all older brothers do this, but when I was younger, I had a younger brother. And we used to get an allowance. Well, I would go and spend my allowance. And then I would go out of my way to help my brother, my younger brother, spend his allowance to my favor. So I get a whole bunch of certain kind of candies. I get the big things, the things that couldn't be so divided, whatever, and lunch them up. And I'd help him divide the smaller ones and different ones so that we can share them. With brother privilege. But there's a good example of the thinking of the Jupiter rulership affecting the shared resources. It just starts creating picture when you look at the 9th house of higher understanding, the fighting for what I'm believing in. When I run across something that's wrong, I'm fighting for it. I'm fighting for it. I won't sit on another board meeting because I get that board meeting, someone's being stupid, I get mad about it, and I raise my voice, and then all of a sudden I have to take on that committee. Not worth it. But I have traveled and I have done a lot of things to get deeper understanding and more profound understanding, be exposed to different cultures. But that really came from my traveling and my thinking, affecting the 9th house, doing things in that way, like the Tai Chi and the philosophy behind it. 10th house, we did the 11th house. My 11th house is Cancer. It's Cancer. It's I live for my friends or for family. So really, when I was young, I left home. Well, I left from the family with the friends. When I left home, I lived in other people's houses and my other friends' houses. I traveled for a number of years. Then when I finally settled down, I had a place that everyone could come and stay in my place. So the need to have friends and to either be their house or my house, that was a very strong need to have people over and that. We used to have really big astrology parties and they went pretty well for about 10, 15 years. But my moon goes in that direction. It was important for me before my parents died to feel close to them and feel friends with them. We were in different cities, so we weren't all that close in that way, but we were close in other ways. My Leo in the 12th house. I can know a lot of things whenever I try and show the stage or make a big performance or have a little extra bravado. I have very strong karmic consequences. Saturn, Pluto in the 12th house, but they tend not to work for me. I tend to alienate people or alienate myself by bringing too much attention to myself. But if I didn't, no one would know what I'm doing. Well, maybe it would be better, maybe it would be hard to say. But this is just, and the ruler of that 12th house is my son in the 2nd house. So when I'm trying to get money for myself, it doesn't happen. When I try to get money for other people, other causes, it comes in, no problem. That's a little fast, but I'm just trying to touch these areas. It's difficult doing your own and talking about it and trying to put out, but we're going to go through each person's and we're going to try, when it comes to the planets, we're going to take a few planets, the sun, the moon, maybe a planet stands out, we might take it. We're going to look at the IC for sure and then glance at the angles. And we have to look at a few of the F. Just working with the rulers of the house cusps. It's traditional astrology. It's basically a main secondary factor of getting interpretation levels from a natal chart. So it's important to know this side of it. Although in my interpretations are based more on the angles and on the planets and on the planets being in the houses or in the signs than the houses themselves. However, the majority of people in astrology learn the houses, and then memorize the houses, and everything is affecting the houses. There's many ways to approach this. Finish with the houses, signs on the house cusps. Yeah, so okay, so that's pretty much what I want to go over as a start. Next week, I'll be sending you the chart that we're going to do next week. This is the picture of it, July 25th, 1963. And sample one, we'll be using this chart and working with it next week. So you're going to be sent this chart in the aspectarian. You're going to need to take the Excel sheet and work out the point totals so you have those. And then spend a little time working on the calendar, see what you can see for it, so you can compare against what I'm seeing to see how it's working for you. Okay, so we're a little bit early. I'm going to end this a little bit early right now. My voice is a little raspy today, and we'll pick it up next week. So, okay, we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.